Happy birthday, America. Happy birthday, America. How old is America now? Who fucking knows? Old as shit, but not old enough. Young as far as countries go, old as far as people go. Well, here we go. My lights are so bright today. My lights, I'm too bright. Turn that down a little. That's better. Too bright. All right. Got my eagle shirt on today to celebrate. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back. It's the 4th of July, and honestly, I have mixed feelings. I have mixed feelings about the holiday. I loved it growing up. It was one of my favorite holidays as a kid. The older I get, the more I'm just like, this is expensive, and it scares my dogs. What's in the cup? It's poop. It's a cup full of poop. I'm drinking poop today. It's coffee. It's some coffee. Just some coffee. I can't do this unless I'm highly caffeinated. Anybody have any exciting plans for today? I started a little early today, and I'm gonna wrap up around 3 p.m. Because we're gonna go get some fireworks. Whoa. Did you hear that? You hear that explosion? People are blowing shit up already. Collider, thank you for the 5 months. Sorry I haven't been around, busy with work deadlines. What'd you just say to me? Did you just... I know you didn't just come in here and start apologizing. But no, we're happy to have you. No need to apologize. It starts early in the South. Yeah, I'd say that goes for the Midwest too. People have been lighting off fireworks all week. We've been lighting them off all week. Probably since July 1st, people have been lighting off fireworks. Yeah, did you hear that big explosion? Somebody's out there blowing some stuff up already. Is it weird that there's some part of my brain that wants to, like... There's a part of my brain that's, like, entertained when fireworks go wrong. Not when people get hurt, of course. I don't like it when people get hurt, but, like... Do you remember that fireworks show? And I think it was... It may have been San Diego. Yeah, it was San Diego. They had a fireworks show and it was supposed to be like 20 minutes long or something, but all of the fireworks blew up at once. Let's take a trip back through time. This happened in 2012? 2012? This happened 12 years ago? This feels like it happened 3 years ago. What is happening to my sense of time? I'm getting old, I guess. Anyway, check this shit out. If you haven't seen this one, I'm gonna turn it down because it's loud as fuck. In 2012 in San Diego, they had a fireworks show planned, and it malfunctioned, and they accidentally launched all of the fireworks at once. The best fireworks show ever, they say. Let's see it from above.
Yeah, so last night in San Diego, the big finish happened just a little too soon. 500,000 spectators felt a little bit cheated because officials say a technical glitch set off the fireworks at the Big Bay Boom all at once. The entire show was over in 15 seconds. Whoops.
Yeah. We'll try again next year?
Welcome back to CBS This Morning, everyone.
This is what I find this kind of stuff entertaining. Do you ever have an intrusive thought every time you see a fireworks tent and you're just like, do you ever have an intrusive thought? I'm not even going to elaborate on what that intrusive thought is. I'm not even going to elaborate. But do you ever see a fireworks tent and you have an intrusive thought? But no, whenever I see a fireworks tent, there's this little gremlin voice in the back of my mind, and it just says, do it. Do it. I say, no. No, we can't do that. That's arson. That's a felony. That's illegal. Yeah, I have mixed feelings about today. 4th of July was always one of my favorite. I would say it was up there at the top. It was definitely one of my favorite holidays as a kid. I just liked blowing stuff up. I like blowing stuff up. But yeah, now that like the years have gone by and I'm an adult, it's just like, I don't know, I just miss it. I feel like if I could go back in time, it would be me as a kid on the 4th of July, hanging out at my grandparents' house. Alright. Hey, how's it going? Happy 4th of July. Happy Independence Day. You like my eagle? Isn't this shirt kind of radical? I got this shirt at a thrift store. Isn't it kind of sweet? It's kind of badass. When you were a little kid, your neighbor accidentally lit the trash bag full of fireworks and we all had to abandon the area. Luckily, an adult put out the fire before anything bad happened. Yeah, if you're gonna be lighting fireworks today, exercise caution. Don't keep all of your unlit fireworks piled up next to where you're gonna be lighting fireworks. People seem to make that mistake every year. And then a spark flies over into their fireworks pile, and next thing you know, they're all going off. Who is the independence from? Those filthy Brits. The British. Good for you. Cheers to that. No, last year on the 4th of July, one of our neighbors, they were throwing all of their, like, expended fireworks into a trash can, and then they put that trash can up against the side of their house. But I guess something inside, like one of the fireworks was still smoldering, still hot, and it lit all of that cardboard on fire, and then it lit their garage on fire. And it's been a year later, and the house has finally been, like, fixed. It took them a while. It was just, like, burnt for a while. But just another bit of a safety tip. If you're going to be doing fireworks and you're going to throw all of your expended fireworks into a bin, which I would recommend doing, don't put them up next to your house. Don't put them in your house. Don't put them on the side of your house. Leave that shit out in the driveway, just in case. Let that shit sit out in the driveway, near nothing else. That way, just in case, if it does combust, it's just a melted trash can. You're not burning your house down. I don't want anybody losing any fingers. Alright, as I said, it's going to be a shorter stream today, so I might just take some questions if we get them. I also have a presentation that I did last Independence Day. It was Emotional Independence. It was Emotional Independence Day. It was a bit of a pun. Yeah, we might revisit that one if we got some time. That's so clever. I know, I thought of it all myself. But yeah, we'll probably have some time to get to that. So, like I said, I'll be going until around 3 p.m. Central, so we got some time. I just have to go out to the store. We're gonna do some barbecuing. We're gonna make some hot dogs, some hamburgers. Sean's gonna come over. We're gonna light off some fireworks. Yeah, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. As you may have noticed, my schedule has been a little bit disrupted here on this stream. I've been helping Casey with some of the marathon stuff since we're doing the stream marathon. I gotta cook Casey a proper American meal. Yep, we're gonna have hot dogs, we're gonna have hamburgers, we're gonna have potato chips. That's all your food groups, all of your... Oh, we'll also have ice cream for the top of the food pyramid. We'll have a complete meal. I had Olive Garden yesterday. It's got me feeling some type of way. What are our thoughts on Olive Garden? I didn't mean to pull the wheel out. But I guess now that it's out, how do I feel today? I have mixed feelings. It's a complicated flavor. You're in the green today? That's good. I feel like I'm in the blurple region. Anyway. The last time you went to Olive Garden, it was nearly empty and you got sat next to a guy and his colonoscopy bag was showing. And it just made you not hungry. I'm speechless. I'm speechless. I don't know what to say. Which I hate when it's empty and they always sit you next to the other existing group. Right? They're like, well, we've only got one server at the moment, so we're gonna put you in the same section. They're just trying to clump you together. They're trying to herd you. It was an experience. Your mom was there too, so it didn't help. So you're saying that when you're here, your family just wasn't it? I'm surprised she didn't say something. She seems like the type to say something. Whenever I walked into Olive Garden yesterday, I'm pretty sure that I didn't see it, so I can't confirm it. I'm just going off of what I smelled. Whenever we walked into the restaurant, there were a lot of children, and I think somebody was changing a baby's diaper or something, because when I walked in, it smelled like poop. Like, if you're in a restaurant, and you gotta change your poopy baby, don't do it out where we're all trying to eat. What kind of food is in this garden? Olive Garden is a chain restaurant that serves Italian food. It's not bad. It's probably not even mid, if I'm being honest. I would give it like a 4.5. I'm gonna give it like a 4.5 out of 10. Honestly, the soup and the breadsticks are pretty good. The best time to go to Olive Garden is to just go for lunch and get the soup and salad combo. But yeah, it's like, it's American Italian. Also, all of the restaurants look like this. They all look the same or similar. This is what I got. This is what I got. I got the tour of Italy. It comes with a chicken parmesan, a fettuccine alfredo, and a lasagna. I don't know what part of Italy I was touring. But yeah, it's like the Applebee's of Italian food. Do they not have chain restaurants in Sweden? Or maybe they don't. Oh, oops. I accidentally dragged the text Olive Garden onto the screen. When was the last time you've been to an Applebee's? But yeah, I would put Olive Garden at like Applebee's tier. It's like, it's edible. Your Applebee's got shut down. An Applebee's here got shut down, and it was the Applebee's at the mall. And it was actually a bit of a news story whenever it shut down, because people were quite upset by it. Apparently they just shut down without telling anybody that they were going to shut down. I'm hearing more fireworks going off outside. I'm like, damn, it's 12:48 p.m. Hold your horses. They didn't tell it. They did that at your Applebee's too? Yeah, they did that here, because I remember after it closed, and this was probably 5 years, 6 years ago that it happened, it closed, and they were interviewing people on the news, and they were just like, I had no idea. I thought I was gonna, I thought I still worked here. They didn't tell us. I'm like, wow, that's kind of wild. That's kind of wild. What can you do? You had Applebee's 10 years ago. We went to Applebee's just out of boredom mostly. We went to Applebee's because we wanted to just see if it was still the same, and it is. So if you went to Applebee's today and you haven't been in 10 years, it is the exact same. Shit. It's still bad. Anyway, I'm gonna peek into this question box. Let's get to it. Let's take a look. I have a friend who keeps shaming me for what I buy. Okay. Today I told him I bought some new underwear since my old bras were getting old. They needed to be replaced a lot since they lose, what's that called? Strength or something? Like the elasticity? Like, I think that's the word. Yeah, they lose their function. They become too floppy, I guess. And then he was like, why with this specific emoji? I might be reading into it, but it felt like the emoji was used in a condescending way. I don't know. I don't know. When it comes, and here's the thing. We don't want to overread when it comes to text messages, and that includes emojis. We don't want to look into those too much because it could be a typo, it could be just a misinterpretation. Like, we don't want to dig too deep because text communication is kind of, it's missing a lot of nuance. So it was like this. Some weeks ago, I bought a couple of clothing pieces online, and then he also reacted weirdly and said, I don't know, I wouldn't have used my money on that. I would have said, that's why I spent my money on it. And we got into an argument about it. I do spend my money carefully, but he seems to think I'm shopping addicted and that I'm wasting money. Could it be possible that he's just projecting onto you? He seems like, sometimes what people do, and it sounds like this might be what's going on here, sometimes people will become hyper-vigilant or, overly judgmental or, of other people's behaviors or other people's spendings, and it's like just chill. I recently became interested in fashion and decided to upgrade my wardrobe. I always consider if I'm going to really be using the items I buy when I buy them. So it doesn't really seem like it's a problem. It's not like you're not able to pay your bills because you're buying too many clothes. You're not behind on your car payment because you bought a bunch of shirts. So it's like you're spending money that's within your budget. It doesn't matter what the fuck you spend it on. It's none of his business. You could burn that money for all that matters. It's not his business what you choose to do with it. You're still meeting your needs. You're still fulfilling your responsibilities. Who cares? I don't know if I should feel like he's shaming me for buying stuff to be kind and to help me not waste my money, or just to shame me with no real reason. People don't shame others to be kind. If you want to talk about it in a kind way, there are kind ways to talk about it that don't involve shaming the person. You don't go shaming people out of the goodness of your heart. I don't know, realistically, he's probably got some... Can you hear these? Are those coming through? Can you hear me? Oh my god. Oh my god. What are we doing? There's fireworks just popping off outside. Maybe he's poor and jealous. I mean, you said it. I wasn't gonna say it. I told him my bra was getting old and it got stained by black clothing. It was a white bra, so that's why I bought another bra that was similar. He got mad and told me it's still usable, you should just use it. Alright, I don't know who needs to hear this today. I don't know who needs to hear this. Like, why would you get mad at a friend for buying a new piece of clothing if they say that they need a new piece of clothing? Like, do you know better? Are you trying to say you know better? Are you trying to say that they're wrong? Like, what are you doing? Like, why are you policing them? Honestly, if we want to be real, and I'm just going to cut to the chase here, I'm just going to say he's probably got some own stuff going on in his life that he's having a hard time dealing with, and the way that he distracts himself from those feelings is by overly policing your shopping habits. I'm just going to I'm just going to say what I think it might be. Because that's the kind of shit people do. That's the kind of shit people do. Instead of focusing on their own problems in their own life, they worry about other people's lives. Or they create problems or they view problems in other people's lives where there might not actually be a problem going on. So I don't know, it seems like he's displacing some of his feelings onto you, which isn't fair. Like, who gives a shit? When he told you it's still usable, you should just use it. You should ask him if he wants it. Like, do you want it? Like, do you need one? Like, why is he so concerned about it? That's just kind of weird to me. It's just, there's a peculiar scent that it smells like he's, trying to distract himself from the conflicts that are going on in his life, and he's finding issue in things that aren't really an issue. Because that's what people do. That's what people do. We create conflict in our relationships to distract ourselves from the conflict within us. We've been doing that shit for thousands of years. I'm not throwing that bra away yet. I just don't really want to wear a white bra with random black spots. It doesn't look good. It's just I always have to justify to him why I buy things. I just wouldn't tell him when you buy stuff. I'm like, he doesn't need to be a part of the equation anymore. Like, maybe find another friend that you can talk to when you buy stuff and you're like, hey, look at this thing I bought. And they're like, oh, that's cool. You know what I mean? I never use more money than comes into my account, and he keeps telling me he would save the money for something useful. Oh. Well, good for him. Good for you, dude. Good for you. I don't know what to think. I know I don't have a shopping addiction, so it's frustrating. I told him I don't really like him commenting on what I buy, but he did it again. What to do? Honestly, I feel like the easiest solution here is to just not talk to him whenever you buy stuff. Just don't tell him about it. Just don't. Just, like, you don't have, like, you can still be friends, obviously. Like, you can still do friend stuff, but it's just, like, he clearly just has some sort of issue with, like, spending money on clothes. Like, maybe there was a time in his life where, you know, money was tight, you know, and, like, buying new clothes was something that was viewed as a waste of money, like, when he was a kid or something. You know, maybe he had to, like, wear hand-me-down clothes, or, like, you know, maybe he had issues with, like, his parents telling him, like, no, we can't get you a new shirt. We gotta spend that on the bills. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? A lot of times when people, like, go without something in childhood, it can really set the tempo for how they view spending money on certain things as an adult. Like, if you grow up in a house where you're told, like, buying a new pair of clothes is, like, that's something you only do once a year, you know, you buy new clothes for the new school season, you know, you back to school shopping, this is when you get your new clothes for the year. We're gonna put that shit on layaway. I don't know, he probably just has some sort of idea about, like, buying clothes and, like, but it's your money. You can spend it on whatever you want. But if he just feels like he needs to be judgmental and, like, critical about it, you just don't tell him. Just don't tell him about it. You know, instead, send pictures of your cute clothes to your friends who would be like, oh my god, that's so cute, rather than the person who's going to be like, oh my god, why did you spend money on that? It's like, I don't know, why did I tell you about it? Oh, it sounds like you're reasonable with your spending. You're not, like, opening up and maxing out credit cards to go buy clothes every day. Like, some people do that. Like, shopping addiction is a thing, but it doesn't sound like a thing that you have. Like, people who have a shopping addiction, they're like 3, 4, 5 credit cards deep, and they're just, like, swiping. You know what I mean? They're just... Or they'll have, like, bags of shit at their house that they just haven't even gone through before they're, like, buying new stuff again. I watched an episode of Hoarders where it was a guy and he would hoard stuff. He had, like, a well-paying job, and so the stuff that he hoarded was just, like, shit that he would buy. He would buy clothes all the time, and he would just, like, not even take them out of the bags. He just had a house full of, like, shopping bags and stuff. What does he spend money on? That's a good question. But honestly, it's his business. It's like... Like, life's tough. You know what I mean? And money allows you to enjoy life a little bit more. You know, you can use it to, you know, entertain yourself, distract yourself, calm yourself, you know? And so, just, like, shaming people on how they spend their money, it's just not really, it. So, I don't know. I guess the question is this something that you want to be able to do with this friend? Do you want to be able to tell him that you bought stuff without him reacting in this way? Because if you do, that's going to be more work than if you just stop telling him whenever you buy stuff. So the choice is yours. Do you want to try to work on this with him? Which may or may not work. It may or may not be helpful. Or do you want to just not tell him whenever you buy something? That's probably what I'd do, if I'm being honest. I'm like, sometimes we don't need to work through a conflict. Sometimes we can choose to walk away from a conflict, and that's okay. Like, I don't know, me, I know better than to... Some of us just know better than to be like, why'd you buy that? Why'd you spend money on that? But, like, there are real situations where it's like, maybe you have a friend and, like, they're behind on their car payments. They're, you know, not able to pay their rent. Goldfart, thank you for the 10 months. Bless you. Bless you on this blessed day. Oh my god, you can probably hear some of these booms. There's fireworks going off every once in a while outside. Just hear the bam, 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 boom, bam, bam. It's like, chill. 1 p.m. You're just scaring my dog for no fucking reason. Anyway. What was I saying? But yeah, like, if you are able to pay your bills, if you can buy food, if you can pay your rent and your mortgage, your car payments, your utilities, like, if you're good, you got all that shit covered, there's nothing wrong with buying clothes when you need them. Nothing wrong with buying clothes when you need them. You're not buying excessively. You're not, you know, spending frivolously. But sometimes when people aren't accustomed to, like, regularly buying clothes, because some people just aren't. Some people have a weird, and I guess I shouldn't say weird, it's just different. Some people have a different approach to spending money on clothing. Like, me, I don't like to spend money on clothing. I will only buy new clothes. I only get new clothes whenever Casey's like, oh, this would look good on you. I'm like, oh, okay, should we get it? And she's like, yeah, get it. I'm like, okay. I just don't really care, you know? But some people do, and it's fine. It's not a big deal. Like, just think about it. Like, you got bigger stuff to think about. You got other things you could be worried about than how somebody else spends their money. Especially if they have all their needs met. It's not like you're homeless and addicted to drugs and you're spending every cent you can get on drugs or something. That's different. That's you know, but treat savings like a bill. That's a good idea. It's a good idea. If you have the means to save money, it's never a bad idea. It sounds controlling. It is kind of controlling, and I feel like the reason why people do that is because sometimes we try to control other people when we feel like our lives are out of control. Sometimes we try to control things. Oh, hi, Scout. Oh, hey, baby. Oh, yeah, they're lighting them off early. It said they're upsetting the dogs for no reason. Poor Scout. Scout gets the most scared. She's hiding under my desk. Hey, baby. Okay. Yeah, Scout's the most scared. Atticus is completely unbothered. I'm pretty sure that Atticus has hearing loss. He has barked himself. He just so many barks over so many years, just being so loud. I'm sure that he has dampened his hearing. So he's just completely unbothered by the fireworks. Penny doesn't like the fireworks, but Penny will put on a brave face, and she will go outside and she'll be with you, but she'll let you know that she wants to go back inside, but she won't act scared. Penny likes to act brave. Scout, on the other hand, she just gets freaked out. Do those thunder shirts work? Mixed results. One of the things that we've done in lieu of a thunder shirt is we have dog life jackets. And it's kind of the same thing. It's like nice and snug. It like holds onto them. It's like kind of the same thing. But yeah, one year I put Penny in her little life jacket and she kind of liked it. Seemed to help her calm down. The more and more I look at OCD symptoms, I'm more convinced that I might have it. I've taken those quizzes and read up on the different things that people with OCD do, and I do them all the time. I want to go to my parents, but I'm not sure how they'll react. Our vacation is coming up, and I don't want them stressing over it as we already have a lot on our plates. Alright, well here's the thing. You're still you. You're still you, and just having an understanding of your symptoms doesn't change who you are. One thing I would like you to be really mindful of is this. When we spend time reading about symptoms, we tend to hype them up in our mind. This happens to people who are studying to be psychologists. They start learning about different symptoms and different diagnoses, and then they look at their life and they're like, huh, now do I have this? This is why self-diagnosis should always be avoided. Because even people who diagnose for a living don't diagnose themselves. Because you can't do it objectively. You need somebody from the outside who can look at the facts and come in with an unbiased opinion. So do you possibly have some of these symptoms? I agree. You know, you looked up these symptoms and you identified with them and you relate to them, and so I don't doubt that. I don't doubt that at all. But the thing to remember is that this is a super treatable thing. Like, the symptoms are super treatable. If your vacation is coming up and you don't want to stress them out, then wait. Wait until you get back to talk about it. Like, it's not going to be like a life or death situation. It's like they don't need to... This doesn't have to be something that they need to know right now. It doesn't, like... Because, like, how much have you changed? And how much will you change, you know, in a span of a couple weeks? Like, probably not that much. So, how about this? If you want to tell me some specifics related to the types of symptoms that you're dealing with, I'd be happy to talk with you more about the specifics and talk about how we can start working on some of those specific symptoms that you're dealing with. I would be happy to do that. If not, how about this? Let's look at the symptoms of OCD. OCD is an anxiety disorder. It's an anxiety disorder, and we call it OCD. It stands for Obsessive Compulsive Disorder. There are two components to remember here. The O, meaning the obsession, this is thought. You have an obsessive thought. Did I lock the door? Did I turn the oven off? Did I leave the water running? And then you have the compulsion, which is the behavior. So you have the obsessive thought. Can you hear those firecrackers? They're just really going. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. God bless America. God bless America. So with OCD, you have the obsessive thought, which a lot of people have from time to time. Here's a thing to remember. You can have some of these symptoms, but not meet the criteria to be diagnosed with OCD, because part of what's going on here is part of how a human brain works. It's like when you think about something and you start like fixating on it, you start to act in such a way to relieve that stress that you're getting from whatever it is that is occupying your thinking. When it becomes a big issue is when the compulsive behaviors that you have to do start getting in the way. Sometimes people will develop like ritualistic type behaviors. And so yeah, it's about how much stress these obsessions and compulsions cause for you. Some people have a different type of OCD that we refer to as pure O, meaning they just have the obsessive thinking component of it. They don't have the compulsive behaviors. Some people only have the compulsion symptoms. Usually it has both, but it's also possible to only have one or the other. So when we look in as far as the symptoms are divided into what are the symptoms of the obsession and what are the symptoms of the compulsion. Because the compulsion is the behavior and the obsession is the thinking. Now, it's important to remember that a lot of the things that people might experience are things that most people experience. It's just about the intensity, and it's about the level of stress that it causes you. Another way to refer to these types of thoughts is intrusive thoughts, which everybody has. Everybody has intrusive thoughts from time to time. It's just about how frequent and how intense those are. Common themes of obsessions: fear of contamination or dirt. Germophobia is probably one of the most common obsessions for a person with OCD. And so what does a person do with OCD when they are concerned about germs and dirt? What are some things they might do to feel better about that? They might wash their hands repeatedly. I've known people who washed their hands so repeatedly that their hands would start to crack and like bleed from just being so dried out. Both are characterized by looping and repetitiveness. This is true. This is true. And that in kindergarten, and you got over it. Right? It feels like my intrusive thoughts are all the time, and the way I stop them are picking at my skin. There's a term for that. It's called association. Spelled it wrong. Skin picking. It's a symptom of anxiety that's often related to OCD. To simplify it, it's basically just a way that you can distract yourself from your thinking, or you might even do it without even realizing you're doing it. But it's basically just a physical manifestation of the anxiety that you're experiencing in your mind. Like, they call it a disorder whenever it's something you do all the time, but an average person, if they were put into a situation of like extreme stress, they would do it too. Anyway. It's kind of similar to how people who have a lot of like trauma that they're dealing with, or they're dealing with a lot of like stress, they might harm themselves. You know, they might, pull their hair out, they might cut or burn themselves, and it's kind of similar in that regard. It's like, it's a way to like offer some distraction, some relief from what's going on inside your mind. I had obsessive thoughts when I was a kid about germs and counting and stuff, and then suddenly one day the thoughts stopped. Do you remember what helped? See, you're bringing up a really important point here, Marty, because when people think OCD, they look at it as it's some like, and they do this to a lot of types of mental illness, is they look at it like it's some sort of disease, or like it's like cancer or something. But realistically, a lot of what people struggle with mentally are things that a lot of people struggle with. It's just about how intense is it, how much stress is it causing you, and how long has it been going on. Because the stuff that you're talking about, like being a kid and dealing with like obsessive thoughts and these types of behaviors, it's like, that happens a lot. And then sometimes it just stops. The brain's wild. When it comes to treating OCD, you want to remember that anxiety is what is fueling it. And so if you want to work on the OCD, if you want to fix the OCD, what can be really helpful to do is to treat the underlying anxiety that's causing it. You know, practicing your grounding techniques, practicing your mindfulness, practicing your breathing. Just learning how to relax your body so that it reduces your anxiety level on a physiological state. Yours has probably been going on for like 3 or 4 years. Alright, well, I have a homework assignment for you. When you catch yourself picking, I want you to give your hands a new job. I want you to because that's going to help to rewire your brain. Because right now there's a connection in your brain that says, when I feel this way, I do this thing. And we want to change that connection so that when I feel this way, I don't do this thing, I do this thing instead. We're making a little change. So what's something else that you can do to occupy your hands? Can you doodle? Can you get one of these things? A fidget toy is another good idea. You're rewiring your brain, right? This is how any type of mental state is changed. And I say mental state because honestly, a lot of times I don't even really like to use terms like mental illness because it makes people feel like there's something wrong with me, there's something broken about me, there's something I can't fix, I'm gonna be sick forever, and it's like, no. Not necessarily. You can change your mental state, and you just have to be mindful, but also be kind to yourself. Show yourself some grace, because a lot of times the people get really caught up in their old ways of thinking, and they have a hard time changing them, because whenever they find those moments where it's like, you kind of catch yourself in the act. You're doing the thing that you're working on changing. And instead of viewing this as an opportunity to learn and as an opportunity to grow, people view these moments and then they become very critical of themselves. They become very judgmental of themselves. So why am I doing this? Why can't I stop doing this? I wish I could stop doing this, but I just can't do it. Why is it so hard? I just don't get it. I'm just so stressed. My biggest recommendation is stop beating yourself up. Stop pushing yourself down. Try lifting yourself up instead. You catch yourself engaging in a behavior that you're trying to change instead of, now why the fuck am I doing this again? Why can't I change? I'm just such a piece of shit. I'm worthless. I'm never going to change. No, that's not going to help you. What you want to try to do is view it as, okay, this is what I'm trying to work on. If this didn't happen, I wouldn't have the opportunity to do something about it. This is the opportunity where I can start practicing something new. I'm changing my mind. I'm rewiring my brain. It's just like rerouting traffic. It's like rerouting traffic. You just gotta build a new road in your mind and then start detouring traffic. Nope, this way instead. Not be so critical and judgmental of yourself. People being overly critical and overly judgmental of themselves is what I believe to be one of the #1 reasons why people feel so stuck in their mental health. We got people out here literally just beating the shit out of themselves mentally. No, you gotta want to see yourself do well. You gotta cheer yourself on. You gotta be a bit kinder to yourself if you actually want to get to where you're trying to go. You're not gonna berate and chastise and bully yourself into becoming the person you want to be. Does that also go for the obsessive thoughts and how do I get rid of the shame and paranoia along with them? Alright, here's what I want you to practice doing, okay? And this might take some time. It might take a couple weeks before you actually start to notice a change. But it will change so long as you keep working on it, okay? So follow me. Whenever you have an obsessive thought come up, I want you to just try to take a step back from it and just look at it as if you're looking at an object. And you say, oh, this is an obsessive thought. How does this make me feel? And then just watch your feelings. Don't act on them, just observe. Like you're watching yourself through a camera. You're taking a step back from yourself. This is one of the most important skills that you'll want to learn if you actually want to have more control over your thinking. You label an intrusive thought or an obsessive thought for what it is. And then basically you just sit and watch it until it leaves. Which might take a while, and it might be stressful, and it might be difficult, but it will eventually be replaced by a different thought. Your mind will keep moving. I think it's just ingrained patterns. Our brain is somewhat hardwired during our formative years. That's why you gotta... Oh yeah, I know, I agree, but I feel like a lot of these patterns can be changed. It's like... What's a good analogy here? Like, sometimes you gotta dig deep to really get in there to figure out the root of the problem. Sometimes people just fix things at a surface level. But as far as how your brain is wired, it can change. Your brain is changing right now. Your brain has made new connections and severed old, unused connections the whole time we've been talking. It's been happening. What you mentioned, Brittany, is important because I feel like that's part of the reason why understanding the root cause of why you feel some type of way or why you have a certain type of reaction or symptom is really important. Because it helps people to understand that this isn't just the way that I am, this is something that I was taught, or this is something that I learned. And so if you can kind of understand better, like, the circumstances that caused you to be the way that you are, you understand the depth, you understand the complexities, and you can start working to change it. When it comes to obsessive thoughts or intrusive thoughts, just take a moment and pause. Label it for what it is. Remind yourself that it's not helpful. Whenever you have a thought, put it in either one of two piles. Does this help me or does this hurt me? If it helps me, I should keep it. If it hurts me, I want to learn how to let it go. It's not so easy to just let a thought go. But identifying that is a thought that you do want to let go and that you are working on letting it go, that's the first step in actually letting it go. And then you just continue to do that. You continue to redirect the traffic. And then slowly, gradually, your brain does change. And you do have a new way of thinking. Sometimes it happens so gradually you don't even notice it. Until one day you wake up and you feel like something's missing. This feels different. This feels new. This feels strange. And what could it be? I feel like something's not the way that... I don't know, something's different. And then you realize, oh, I haven't had an obsessive thought for days. I can't remember the last time I had one. That's more of how it works. I really wish that mental health, like, you felt better as you continued to get better. But realistically, getting better a lot of the times feels weird because you're used to feeling bad. And so things feeling weird, things feeling strange or different, or feeling like something is missing can actually be a good indicator that things are getting better. Also, I feel like meditation is going to be super helpful because meditation helps you to practice just watching your thoughts instead of engaging in your thoughts. But you are not your thoughts. Your thoughts are just a byproduct of having a brain. Thoughts are a byproduct of your brain being turned on right now. Sounds like I'll be spending some time in my own head. Hey, that's the only way you can do some tidying up. Just work on making some space for yourself in there. Your own head should be a place that you want to be. It should be a place that you can go to feel safe. It should be a place that you can go to feel calm and centered. And so if you don't feel that way about your own head, maybe think about changing it, because it doesn't have to always be that way. Hello? Hello. Well, howdy, partner. Well, howdy, partner. I usually try to distract myself from my head, TBH. Don't fault yourself for doing that, because I hope you believe me when I say this, that's what most people do. That's why people drink, that's why people smoke, that's why people do any number of things. Is to just distract themselves from their thinking. It's like, that's not the type of relationship you want to have with your mind. It's like, if you want to have a better relationship with your mind, you're going to have to sit down and listen to what it's trying to tell you. And in doing that, you will recognize that you do have some control in the flow of where your mind goes. When you're trying to learn how to control your mind better, it's not like getting control over your hand. You know, it's not like you can pick and choose what it is you think about. It's more like learning how to control the flow of a river. You can't stop it from flowing, but you can kind of change the direction a little bit. You can reroute it. You can put a bend in it. Studies how on meditation can aid neuroplasticity are pretty fascinating. Oh yeah, I love that kind of stuff. Meditation, without a doubt, has been the most helpful thing for my mental health. Because so many people have like such a contentious relationship with their own brain. A lot of people are terrified of the idea of having to be alone with their own thoughts. But you don't have to be that way. It doesn't have to be that way. What do I do during meditation? I just am. I just exist. And I just see where my mind goes. The way that I look at it, and this is kind of a silly analogy for it, so feel free to laugh because it's meant to be funny. Meditation, for me, is kind of like this. What you want to try to learn how to do is just let go of that leash and just watch your mind as it wanders. Not feel the need to hold on to it so tightly. Just go with the flow and see where it takes you. But I feel like a lot of time people have a lot of stress in their mind is because they're internally grappling with, like, basically a toddler on a leash. So for me, the idea of meditation is I'm going to let my brain off the leash and I'm just going to see where it goes. I feel like a lot of the stress that people have is they try to hold on too tightly. You got to hang loose. I just like to view my thoughts, you know, like cars on a train passing by. I don't want to hop on the train. I just want to watch it as it goes past me. The more you practice this in meditation, the more you realize that there are distinct parts of your consciousness. There are the parts of you that are producing the thought, and there's also a separate and distinct part of your mind that is just aware. It is aware that you are thinking. It is aware that you are here right now, doing whatever it is that you're doing. It's a separate and distinct part of your consciousness. And so what you want to try to do is just lean more into that part of you. The part of you that simply is. It's just chilling, just watching stuff happening. If you see yourself as consciousness having a human experience, meditation becomes very expansive. See, now you're fucking cooking. Now you're fucking cooking. Now you're getting into like transcendental meditation, which is actually really fun to do. Just be consciousness. Instead of being you, just find the light within you. That light of your consciousness, that light of your awareness, and trace it back to its source. So yeah, questioner, I would just try your best to enjoy your vacation. You got a vacation coming up? Just try to have fun. You know, all of the things that you want to work through, they'll be there when you get back. There's no deadline on when you need to have this stuff done by. But I think that waiting until after you come back from vacation and maybe just having a clearer mind and a clearer idea of like what I want to be working on, I feel like that's not a bad idea. Hold on, I have a little video. I have a short little video that I play this one from time to time, but it really it helps to explain meditation for a beginner. Let's see if I can find. Okay, it's a short little video.
Despite what you may have heard, meditation does not involve joining a group, paying any fees, wearing any special outfits, sitting in a funny position, or believing in anything in particular. It is simple, secular, scientifically validated exercise for your brain. You don't have to do it yet, but just so you know, here are the 3 steps. 1, sit with your back straight and your eyes closed.
You can also lay down if you want to. You can also do it while you're walking. The thing about meditation is you can do it anytime, anywhere, for any amount of time. Normally, why we tell people to do it sitting up with your back straight and your eyes closed is because it helps you get an idea of how it feels to be meditating. And once you get more accustomed to that, it's like, okay, now try it while you're doing something else. It's like, alright, you learned how to chew bubble gum, now learn how to walk. he a rat or a hamster? I'm going with, I'm thinking he's a lab mouse.
2, notice the feeling of your breath coming in and going out. Pick a spot where it's most prominent. Usually that's your nose or your chest or your belly, and just focus your full attention on the feeling of your breath coming in and going out. Now, as soon as you try to do this, your mind's gonna go nuts. You're gonna start thinking about, what am I gonna have for lunch? Why'd I say that dumb thing to my boss? Your brain's gonna go nuts, and that's fine. The whole game is to notice when you've gotten lost and to start over. And then to start over again, and again, and again. Every time you do that, it's like a bicep curl for your brain, and it shows up on the brain scan. Scientists have found this in the lab. It's also, by the way, a radical act. You're breaking a lifetime's habit of walking around in a fog of projection and rumination, and you're actually...
Wow, these fireworks. We normally walk around in a cloud of projection and rumination. We are either ruminating on the past, or we are projecting our fears into the future. And what meditation does is you focus intently on the here and now. And you just are, you just exist. Your brain will be like, but what about this? What about this? What about this? Have I thought about this? What about this? This is important. You need to think about this. Okay, brain. We'll get to it. One thing at a time, brain. They found that you can notice a change in your brain in as little as 2 weeks of meditation. If you did it every day for 30 minutes a day for 2 weeks, it's about 7 hours, you would actually see a change in your brain's functioning if they hooked you up to a EEG and they did a brain scan. They would say, oh yeah, your brain is thinking differently than it was. So it's not something that you have to do for 20, 30 years. You don't have to go join a monastery. You don't have to, sit there for hours at a time chanting the Om. It's not how it works. You can do it for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 2 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever you have time for. But what's important is making time to do it. Finding time to do it. You might have to take time out of some other things. Like maybe you scroll too much on social media. Maybe you can find the time. You gotta make the time.
Focusing on what's happening right now. Meditation is unlike anything you do in the rest of your life. Failure is actually success. As I said, the whole game is just trying, failing, starting again, failing, starting again. Here's my advice. You should be meditating every day, 5 to 10 minutes a day. That's it. This doesn't require some giant investment. I don't care how busy you are, you have 5 to 10 minutes to give this a shot. I guarantee you it will make a big difference.
Try, fail, start again. Because, when you're trying to meditate, I feel like what a lot of people get hung up on is they feel like, oh, I'm not very good at this. It's going to take a while for me to get good at this. I'm going to have to practice this. It's the same way as like if you sit down in front of an instrument that you've never played before. Or like, it's going to take me a long time to learn how to play this thing. But what you'll realize in meditating, after you practice it for a little while, is that there are times in your life where you have been in a meditative state. You just didn't assume that it was a meditative state. Like maybe you were on a car ride and, you kind of just allow your thoughts to wander. And then next thing you know, you're at your destination and you don't really remember driving there. Or maybe you're just in the shower and you got the hot water going, and then the next thing you know, the water's running cold. You've been in there for half an hour and you're like, oh wow, where did the time go? So that was helpful to me whenever I started practicing meditation, was realizing all of the other times in my life that I had meditated. I just didn't realize what it was that I was doing. And so I was like, oh yeah, I am actually very practiced in this. I have done this a lot. I actually do know what I'm doing. Because that's another question that people ask themselves a lot when they start practicing meditating. They're like, am I doing this right? My ex married a few weeks ago. It has me questioning my self-worth. I always feel like the person they date before the one. This isn't about my ex at all because good riddance, but I guess in general it has me feeling sad, lonely, ugh. Like, is it me? I know better, but damn does it still hurt even though I'm out here on my own and I've grown to realize I chose bad partners. I guess I miss comfort, I miss inside jokes. Hey. Hey. It feels like we're experiencing some cognitive dissonance here. A normal side effect of having a human brain is we experience these feelings of cognitive dissonance. You have two beliefs existing at the same time inside your mind, and they conflict with one another. On one hand, it's good riddance, we weren't a good fit. And on the other hand, you're like, is it me? Am I the bad one? Do you have room for self-improvement? Probably, because all of us do. So there's nothing wrong with that. Having room to improve isn't a bad thing. It actually is a good thing because it means that you are focused on becoming a better person. So there's nothing wrong with that. It's actually a good thing. It would be a worse thing if you felt like, I've got nothing to change. I'm perfect the way I am. So of those two mindsets, I would say it's probably better to have that feeling of like, where can I grow? In what ways can I improve? You have a growth mindset. That's not a bad thing. Unless it's unavoidable, I don't think it's constructive to follow the personal life of your ex. For the most part, yeah. Unless you're like on good terms and you like are still friendly, like I don't think that like there's no like the way I like to see it is if you aren't meant to be together, that doesn't mean that you want them to be like miserable and lonely for the rest of their life. Like, you would hope that they could grow and improve and find somebody that makes them happy in the same way that you would want that for yourself, right? I've just heard people before where they get really hung up on like their ex like doing well in their life. It's like we shouldn't really waste our time and our energy wishing ill upon people in that way. Like, don't we want people to be able to grow? Don't we want people to be able to change? I think we should. Because we want that for others, we want that for ourselves too. I would just say, oh, this tone is not it. I had it, oh, It was set to shuffle, and it shuffled to a random tone. Anyway. I would say this, questioner. Focus on becoming someone that enjoys their own company. Like, if you can enjoy your own company, other people will gravitate to that. People will admire that. People like people who can be, you know, independent, and people who have their own interests, and people who, you know, take good care of themselves. Finding someone to be with isn't going to give you all of the things that you need to be happy in life. Like, if you're not happy on your own, you're not going to be happy with another person. Like, you need to think about, like, what is it about me that makes me uncomfortable being alone? Not that you should be alone. I'm just saying you should be able to enjoy the time that you spend with yourself. And if you don't, that's probably something that's good to work on before we look at having another partner. You know, there's nothing wrong with, I strongly encourage, you know, embracing that growth mindset. You know, just focusing on what is it that I want to improve about myself for no other reason than because I want to do it. That's kind of where I'm getting at. It's like, you don't want to fix or change things about yourself for someone else, because this type of thing often leads to like feeling resentment or like a loss of identity, and a lot of like blame is placed onto our partner. But it's like, if there are things about you that you genuinely want to change, then change them for no other reason than because you want to do it, because you want to be a better person. And then find a person that allows you to, you know, find an even greater sense of self. The person that we're with shouldn't give us our identity. They should enhance our identity. You think it comes from your people-pleasing background that you've been working on? Well, good. I'm glad to hear that you've been working on it. Like, honestly, realistically, you're probably just being too hard on yourself. And it's not that big of a change to change from being too hard on yourself to being just hard enough on yourself. Because I feel like we don't want to be too hard on ourselves, but we also don't want to be too lenient with ourselves. Like, when we become too lenient with ourselves, too permissive with ourselves, that's when we become, you know, entitled and toxic, and, you know, we don't need that. We want to be fair and balanced. Like Fox News. It's a joke. It's a joke, by the way. It's a joke, by the way. Fox News, their tagline, I don't know if it's still that, but it used to be fair and balanced. I'm like, okay, sure. Sure. But yeah, there's nothing wrong with having some room to grow. I would say that it's actually better to want to grow and improve than to be like, no, I'm done. I'm fine. I'm perfect. You know what I mean? Like, you always want to be a work in progress. You are your own magnum opus. You are your own greatest work. So don't put your tools down until you're really done with it. I'll work on being more fair and balanced with myself. All right, you want your first exercise? Tell me one thing that you like about yourself. You told me already that you're a people pleaser, and that's probably something that you're not too fond of. So what's something that you like about yourself? What's something that you are proud about? And this goes to anybody who regularly puts themselves down or regularly beats themselves up. If you're going to think about all the things that you don't like about yourself, it is essential to start thinking about things that you actually do like about yourself. You got to learn to like the person that you are. And if you don't like the person that you are, work on changing it. That's why self-love is so important. You gotta love yourself, and loving yourself doesn't always mean liking yourself. But loving yourself means that you will do what you need to do to like yourself more. You like that you are kind? I like that about you too. I don't know how to word this, but I wish I had more people in my life receptive to how quote unquote annoying I can be. Annoying is a negative word, but it's how I lump clinginess and excessive loving together. I have so much love to give, and I want to give. It's been helpful having Twitch communities around so I can express all that love, but I'm a hugger and can use some extra long cuddles. Group hugs in the chat. All right. All right. In what ways do you identify as being clingy, and what would you like to do about that? Because I feel like that, feeling like you're annoying, I wouldn't attribute it to how much love you're able to give, because I feel like that's actually a good thing. But you define yourself as being clingy, and I could see where people might see that as annoying. So I guess what I would work on is just focusing on changing that feeling of, needing to be clingy. Like sometimes we need to give people room to breathe. We can love people from a distance, but still have love for them. I would take all of that love that you have and I would show some of it to yourself. And say, what is it that I want to do? What is it I want to change about myself so that I can feel a bit better about myself? Maybe I can practice better ways of communicating my love to people in ways that might not feel overwhelming to them. You have a lot to give, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing. I would say that, Brittany said, having a lot of love to give is great, but in my experience, clingy people will emotionally lash out at you if you don't reciprocate that love to their standard. I agree. And what I would say is, be okay with giving more love to people than they give to you. Giving love to people shouldn't be a transaction. There shouldn't be any expectation of reciprocation. Give love because you want to give love, and because you can give it freely, and you have no limit to how much you can give. But I feel like sometimes we set conditions and terms on the love that we're able to give. Sometimes people just need space, you know, and we don't want to overwhelm them and we don't want to drive them away by being clingy. You just label yourself as annoying. That's the most annoying thing about you, is that you label yourself as annoying. So, how do you feel about that? You label yourself annoying, and that annoys me. Like, no, there will be people out there that you just, like, will click with, and you just won't feel the need to overly explain yourself or be overly judgmental of yourself, and so I would just find those people and invest in those relationships. I love the amount of love that's in this community. Like, I can start stream and be in not such a good mood, but then just like after like hearing from people for a little while, it's just like my mood will completely change. I feel all of the love in the air. It's true. Let's spam some hearts. If you've got love to give it. Just throw it out there. Just give it out to the universe. A lot of times, you know, maybe we've been hurt. Maybe we feel like we have to keep our love locked away. We have to keep it safe. We're afraid that if we give the little bit of love that we're clinging on to, that we'll never feel love again. But if you want to know more love, you gotta give your love away freely. Don't keep it to yourself. The love you get in return for the love that you give will be even greater. Is what I've found to be true. Hey, Obscene Darling, thank you for the 11 months. Cheers. Can you feel the love tonight? If you got love to give, don't keep it to yourself. That's all I got to say. Just show it to other people in small ways. You know, you go to the store and you check out at the cashier, you say, I hope you have a good day. And you mean it. You don't just say it because it's what you're supposed to say. You tell somebody, hey, that's a nice shirt. Oh, hey, that's a cool car. Hey, that's a nice pair of shoes. Oh, I love your dog. You know, just give it away. Just give it away. Like you can't get rid of it fast enough. And you'll find that it'll find its way back to you. But sometimes what stress and trauma and hardship can do to us is it makes us feel like we have to keep the love that we know locked away in this little tiny box, and we're only able to look at it with, like you caught a bug in your hand. You ever catch a bug in your hand and then you're like trying to peek at it quick so that it doesn't fly away? I feel like some people do that with their love. They're like, it's still there. Good. You're just checking to make sure it's still there. But no, if you want to feel more love, you gotta tear down the walls around your heart. We put up these walls around our heart to protect the love that we do know. But if you want to feel more love, you got to give it space to grow. Don't put that plant in the tiny little pot. Put it out there in the garden. Let it take root. Honestly, I struggle with just finding things to do that don't involve screens. And not expensive. I know exercise is free, but what else can one do? You can draw, you can read, you can sing, you can paint, you can practice an instrument. One of the things that I find helpful is really embracing that growth mindset when it comes to finding things to do. If I can find something to do and it feels like I am honing a skill, it feels like I'm learning, it feels like I'm growing, it feels like I'm practicing something, I find it more satisfying than if I'm just doing something to distract myself. Find a walking trail near where you live. Find a little trail that goes through some nature. And don't take your phone out unless you want to take a picture of something. Just leave your phone in your pocket. I'm not even going to say to leave your phone in your car. You can take your phone with you. Just don't be scrolling on your phone while you're walking on the trail. That kind of defeats the purpose. Library is a great place to check out for events, activities, etc. That's a good idea. You would be surprised with just how many events and things are going on in your community that you had no idea about. There's all sorts of stuff going on. There's people doing volunteering, there's people doing, meetups for like certain types of interests, there's different clubs. There's all sorts of things to do. But they're not going to come to your door to recruit you. If you want to be a part of those things, you got to go to them. Which can take a little bit of effort, but sometimes it's really important to remind ourselves that we are worth the effort. We are worth the work. Scout's just curled up. She's just curled up by my feet. This poor doggy. They've been lighting fireworks off all day already, and this dog's just scared. So yeah, spending time away from the screen doesn't have to be anything that costs money. It should be something that you want to do that's helpful. If it's something that you feel like, I've always wanted to get around to doing this. This is something I've always wanted to learn how to do. This is always something I've wanted to try. That's always a good option. Hold her up to the camera. She walked away. She's in her bed. One of the things that I've thought about doing is, going on more walks out in nature, but not just going out on the walk, but like taking a trash bag with me and like clearing out some of the litter, cleaning up the path a little bit. Just feeling like I'm, like being the change that you want to see in the world. I feel like that's a good use of our time. Also, I want to let you know that the fact that you spend so much time on, you know, attached to a screen, whether it be your computer or your TV or your phone or whatever, that's not entirely your fault. They design these devices to be addictive. They want you to spend more time looking at them. That's the whole point. They want to bombard you with advertisements. And so they've concocted these algorithms that just create a digital addiction. So, I would say that anytime you go out and you do something without looking at a screen, that is you sticking it to the man who would rather have you sitting there watching an ad, and you're saying, you know what? Fuck you. Whenever you want to pull out your phone and just start scrolling, just imagine some Weasley billionaire sitting in his office, just going like this, like, got him. That's what they got you right where they want you. They want you staring at that thing. So if feeling like you're sticking it to a billionaire in some subtle way by detaching from your device, that's one of the things I find motivating. We're all watching this on our phones. That's true. That's true. You are watching me right now, but I don't know. You got me there. I don't know. I mean, I could be playing a video game. You could be watching. I realize I'm saying this on a website that was originally invented to watch people play video games, but me personally, I've grown out of like wanting to watch other people play video games. I just don't have the time. It's like if I do have the free time, it's like I'm gonna be playing a game myself, and I don't even have enough time to do that. Anyway, I'm just gonna stop digging. I feel like I'm digging a hole. I'm gonna just put my shovel down and get to this next question. What do you do when you struggle with actually feeling deep connections with friends and family? It feels like I can't actually connect with them. Sometimes I think it stems from not really knowing who I am and feeling like I have to be someone else when I'm around others, but I don't know how to change that. I think you hit the nail on the head. I feel like you hit the nail on the head as far as understanding why. The reason why you feel like you don't have these deep connections is because you don't have those deep connections. You feel like people don't really know who you are, and you feel like you have to be somebody else. So I guess where I would start is just allow yourself to be who you are unapologetically. Like, don't feel like you have to hide who you are from the people that you care about. You want them to know who you truly are. You gotta show that person to them. One of the unfortunate facts of life is that people will never truly know you. They can get really close. They can get a really good approximation. But they can never inhabit your mind. They can never know you as well as you know you. There's another way to look at this, though. Another way to look at this would be, how much do I know about the people that I care about? Do you really know who they are? Is it possible that they might feel the same way? Is it possible that their friends and family might also, on some level, feel like People just don't understand me. People just don't know who I really am. Because I feel like a lot of people have those types of feelings. I guess the way I look at it is a little bit different from how other people might look at it. I would rather get to know someone else on a deeper level. I would rather get to know you better than you get to know me better. Like, I don't feel like people need to know everything about me. I don't, like, I'm fine with how well people know me. I would rather get to know them better. Because I feel like they're struggling with the same thing that everybody struggles with, feeling like people don't fully understand them. And so, I'll give it to them. I'll try my best to understand who you are, and I'll try to show and communicate to you that I do know who you are. So when it comes to having a deep connection with your friends and family, it's not just about how well they know you. It's about how well do you know them. And what can you do to grow closer? It's not about being as close as you can right now. It's about wanting to grow closer. It's one of the most beautiful things about being human. The way that we can grow closer to each other. So just allow that to happen. Just continue to work on it. Know that people will never understand you perfectly, just as you will never perfectly understand anyone else. Just try to get as close as you can. That's all you can do. When you start to show more of an interest in getting to know people, they might or might not show more of an interest in wanting to get to know you. But sometimes it's helpful to, be the one who initiates and to show people, because if you're not the one who initiates, you're basically waiting on the other person to initiate. And so, is that being fair to them? Show people that you want to get to know them better. And if there's somebody that really cares about you, they'll show you that they want to get to know you better too. And then just allow it to grow. Also, just be mindful of any internal walls we might have put up that might keep people at a distance. Just learn how to take that mask off and just be who you are without apology. I've had these feelings myself, so I can identify with this, and I feel like a lot of people here can identify with this too. Feeling resentful that people don't know me as well as I wish that they did, but then realizing it's I don't really know them that well either. So it's not really fair for me to blame them for that. I also played a part in this. So if I want it to change, I'm going to have to start working on us growing closer. I'm going to have to get to know them better if they're going to want to get to know me better. I'm looking for advice because I have a problem with masturbating and I want to stop, but every time I try, I can't go for more than a day without doing it. Because I'm a Christian, I think masturbation is wrong, but I just can't keep it away from me. I want to ask if there is some advice you could give me to help me with my problem. I'm going to treat this as a real question. I don't think this is fake. I think this is a real question. First off, most people do it. Let me just say that. First off, most people do it. Let's just clear the air here. Most people do it. Sometimes the people who go to church and the people who tell you just how bad and wrong it is, it's like they're doing it too. They're trying to make you feel bad about doing it so that they feel better about the fact that they do it. But if you're really having a hard time with your feelings about it and you do want to stop doing it, even though it's not bad for you, it's not unhealthy. You know, science actually goes the opposite way. Then they say that it's actually good for your health to do it at least every once in a while. Find something that you can do instead to distract yourself. Whether it be going for a jog, doing push-ups, getting some exercise, you know, doing something creative. It's like just telling yourself, I'm not going to do this, I don't want to do this, isn't going to stop you. You need to find something else to occupy your mind and to occupy your time and to keep your hands busy. So I would find something that works for you. If God didn't want you doing it, he would have made your arms way shorter. He wouldn't even let you reach the thing. That's all I'm going to say. If God didn't want you yanking it, he wouldn't have made it yankable. I'm of the belief that God makes no mistakes. Like, you can't believe in God but also be anti-gay people because God invented gay people and God makes no mistakes. I've always been an introverted and sheltered person, but as I've grown and gained social skills, I was fortunate enough to have gotten myself out there more and actually made IRL friends. Let's go. Let's go. That's good. That's good. It might surprise you just how much of a struggle it is for people to do that. A lot of people have a hard time getting out there. A lot of people have a hard time doing that. So good job. You should pat yourself on the back for that one. Recently, I got forced into a political argument with them about how I was voting. They're libs. This probably isn't important, but I have had zero luck finding any left-wing reassurance in my life. You know, as a leftist, let me just say, nobody dislikes other leftists, or other more than another leftist. Leftists love infighting for some reason. This doesn't seem to be a problem so much with right-wing ideologies. They don't really have that problem with infighting the way that leftists do. So let me just say, as a leftist myself, leftists can be annoying. They can be really annoying. I get it. That being said, all of my friends are leftists too. So, not all of them are annoying, but they can be annoying. I explained to them that I would either not vote at all or hesitate to vote given Biden's genocide, his shifting the Democratic Party to the right at record speed, us getting geared for a new Cold War with China, etc. And I was wholly made fun of, not in jest, called a tanky. Well, that's how you know that you don't need to take them seriously, if they actually call you a tanky, because it's like, who the fuck? A closet right-winger? Oh my god. Okay, so here's the thing that happens, and this is part of the reason why leftists will infight so much, is because a leftist or a liberal, whatever you want to call them, you know, people on the left side of the spectrum, they 99 times out of 100 would rather fight another leftist than fight someone who is their actual enemy. A leftist would rather fight another leftist than actually fight a right-winger. 99 times out of 100. Are liberals considered left in the US? Liberals, they're like center left. But like they're still pretty in the middle. I submitted a question, but I'm just gonna listen to what you say and not really chat. Hey, that's fine. Thank you for submitting a question. No problem. Like, that's totally cool. Thank you for being here. Okay, I'm just gonna be completely honest with you here. A lot of leftists would rather fight other leftists because they're wieners. This is weenie behavior. I have no better way to describe it. This is weenie behavior. It's like, you forget who your actual enemy is. You forget who actually out there is like wishing harm on you. And it's like, you decide to fight with somebody who agrees with 99.9% of what you believe. A lot of times we take out our anger in a place that feels safe. This is why we take it out on our friends, our family. You know, we express anger to those that we care about because they give us a safe environment to do so. You got to remember the bigger picture. You know? You got to take a step back and look at the bigger picture. Don't fight with people who agree with 99% of what you believe. Don't fixate on that 1% difference. Focus on the people who actually want to kill you. Focus on the people who actually want fascism. Those are your real enemy, not people who agree with you. Leftist infighting only helps right-wingers. So that's what I would say to them. That's what I would say. That would be my response. If I'm a leftist and my leftist friends are trying to accuse me of being a right-winger, I would say, leftist infighting helps right-wingers. And then I just wouldn't fight with them. I wouldn't engage. Like, because in reality, they're mad about some other shit, and they're just focusing on something that they can actually process those feelings of anger on. Meaning, who are you going to vote for? It's like, oh, I need to be mad at you for something that doesn't really matter to me. Because you give me a safe environment to process my anger that I can't direct elsewhere. I really want any advice from another on the actual left on how to trust others again, despite how much I think some of them suck now. Some of them do suck, that is true. You're not wrong there. But I would just try to remember that, like, deep down, it's like, why are they a leftist in the first place? It's like, they're empathetic, they're caring, you know, deep down they're a good person, so I would try not to lose sight of that. And I would just, you know, find people who you can agree with that, you know, and if you have disagreements, find people who are willing to actually discuss those disagreements with you rather than feel like they need to argue with you about those disagreements or make you feel like shit because of your disagreements. Because leftist infighting only helps the right wing. Leftist infighting doesn't do anything to help the leftist. I feel even more alienated than when I was lonely because this distrusting feeling is more pervasive than ever. I would just try to take a look at why they reacted the way that they did. Like, if you're a hippie, you're like some leftist hippie, you know, like never touched a firearm in your life. You know, a lot of leftists can be kind of soft. And I'm just being honest. Like, I say this as a leftist. I'm like, some of us can be pretty soft. And they would rather get into a fight with someone else who is on the left because they're going to handle it better than if they got into a fight with somebody who was on the right wing. Somebody on the right wing, they get into a fight with them, they're going to actually have to get into a fight. They don't want to actually get into a fight with somebody. They don't want to exchange blows. They would rather just purity test you to feel better about their own beliefs. And so I would just ask questions. You know, if you really want to get into a conversation with people like this, I would just ask them questions like, do you find that this purity test helps the left? Do you believe that leftist infighting helps the left? Like, these people aren't real leftists. These are people just cosplaying as leftists. Like, I get right-wingers who watch my stream. Like, I've had people say, like, how do you feel about the fact that I watch your streams and I'm a right-winger? I'm like, I don't care. Like, I'm willing to put politics aside because I feel like everybody is deserving of mental health assistance and support, regardless of what your political ideologies. Mike said to think about the solidarity rather than if you like someone. That is really important. We need solidarity. You don't need to like every single person that is on your side of the political aisle, but you need to get together and be cohesive if you actually want to get anything done. Like, the right wing doesn't need to do anything to squash out the left. They just need to let the left infight themselves to death. Like, they can just wait it out. Which is why you gotta focus on who your real foes are. The fascists. Like, if you're a leftist, other leftists aren't your enemy. If you disagree with something, that doesn't make them your enemy. So I would just say, try to find people who get the bigger picture, or find people who are receptive to those ideas. You don't need to make friends with perfect people. You can engage in discussion with these people and express to them how solidarity is more important than liking someone. Disagreeing on certain topics doesn't mean that you are enemies, because your real enemies are out there, and they like it when we fight. So when we fight, they win. So just focus on the bigger picture. Your grandpa already beat the fascists once. right? It's like the socialists beat the fascists once, and we're gonna have to do it again because apparently fascists are like cockroaches and you gotta keep stomping them. Like, odds are the people who get mad at you for some minor thing that you disagree about, it's like they're mad at the same thing that you are. They just need to process those feelings in some way, and so they take it out on you. Anyway, I would just say, just continue to connect with people. Don't give up on people. Just continue to connect with them, focus on solidarity, and just be willing to have these conversations with people and just see if they're receptive to what you have to say. Don't match their energy. Like, if they go, if they want to start yelling at you or insulting you, just keep cool and just keep asking them questions and just try to remain cohesive. That's why I don't like to do politics, because it makes me so angry. Furious. It's like, yeah, just remember. Trigger warning, death. Thank you for the heads up. Hello, Brain Domain. I have a question for you in regards to existentialism. A year ago, I lost my dad to cancer, and then I lost my uncle to gun violence, and then my childhood dog passed away. Damn, cowboy. It's a rough year. I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sorry for your loss. It's a lot of death for anyone to deal with. It's been a year since these events, and I find myself thinking about death all the time, and every time I do think about it, I'm filled with horror and dread. I know we all have to die, but it fills me with fear. How do I overcome this existential horror? I feel I am becoming slightly agoraphobic because I'm so scared that something bad will happen, like me dying, which is not a valid fear, but I have it. Oh no, it is a valid fear. We're hardwired to have a fear of death. But let me finish the question first. I'm always getting ahead of myself. I always want to start answering before I finish. I think it's from all the death I experienced in a short time, but I'm tired of death being this monster I'm running away from. Thanks for any advice, Cowboy. Well, thank you, Cowboy. Howdy, partner. Let me just say, everybody dies. We all die. And the fear of death is something we all share. Oh, Scout. They're setting off more fireworks, and Scout's getting scared. Aw, baby. Don't worry. It's okay. Don't let the fear of death stop you from living. Any of us could die today. We could have a brain aneurysm. We could get hit by lightning. A little meteorite from billions of miles away could cross the entire galaxy just to smack us right in the face. And I'm not saying this to scare us. I'm not trying to scare anybody. I'm just saying death comes for all of us. So don't let that stop you from living. what I found to be helpful myself, as far as how do I deal with the fear of death, because the fear of death is something universal to us. Everybody has it. Nobody knows what happens after you die, and so everybody's at least a little bit scared because it's like, well, what happens? It's a mystery. Live every day like it's your last. What I try to do is I try to find inspiration from people who are terminally ill. They know that they're going to die, and they know that they're going to die relatively soon. Maybe they've got a few months, maybe they've got less time. And in some of these cases, these people, when, they're so close to dying, it's like that's when they finally feel free to actually start living. A lot of people who have been terminally ill have reported that they feel more alive than they ever have in their life. The way that I like to look at death is it's the end of the ride. Right now you are on the ride. Try not to spend the time that you have on the ride worrying about how the ride is going to end. Like when you're on an amusement park ride, you're on a roller coaster, and you're going through the loops, you're going up and down and all around. You're not worried about the end of the ride, you are focused on the ride itself. I'm not really scared of being dead so much as I am of how it's going to occur. Yeah, I hope I go out in a badass way. I hope it's badass. I hope it's not boring. You're gonna die saving all mankind. I feel like that's one of the best ways to go. You'd prefer a boring death? Maybe. Like quietly in your sleep. That seems fine. A lot of people see that as the ideal, just being old and just not waking up. Like me personally, I want to see some more excitement and be like, local man dies in firework warehouse explosion. But I'm the only fatality. Like me as some sort of demented 90-year-old man, I wander into an abandoned warehouse that's full of fireworks and I just blow up the whole thing. No other casualties. Local crackpot dies in fiery explosion. Thank you. No, thank you, cowboy. Thank you for your question. Thank you for sharing your story. I'm sorry to hear that you had to go through that with those deaths and just all back to back. That sucks. But I'm glad I was able to help, so thank you. Like the life you want to live it's waiting for you. You gotta go live it. Otherwise it's gonna pass you by. I try to live every day like it's my last day. The sound of random explosions in the background. That's how I want to go out, surrounded by the sound of explosions. Well. Alright, we got another couple minutes, so if anyone has a question that you are working on, let's go ahead and get that in there, because I'm wrapping up here at 3, because we're actually going to go to the store. We need to get some stuff for our cookout later. I'm going to be streaming with Casey on her channel, so we're going to be doing some 4th of July stuff. So yeah, we got another couple minutes before I'll wrap it up, just in case we had anybody putting a question in. I would hate for somebody to be halfway through typing a question and then, but if you are halfway through typing a question and you get it submitted in late, that's fine. Don't delete it. We'll get to it first thing tomorrow, probably. I'll probably try to do another little stream tomorrow if I'm not too, I have some stuff to do to help Casey with her stream tomorrow, but I should still have some time to do my thing. But yeah, we're gonna have a cookout tonight. We're gonna make some hot dogs and hamburgers, and Sean's gonna come over, and we're gonna get some fireworks, so it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. Thank you. No, thank you. No, thank you. House looks great. Thank you. We've been working hard on the house, and it feels so much more livable now. Tell Sean to bring deviled eggs. I would never wish that on someone else. Be like, hey, make deviled eggs. Have you ever made deviled eggs before? It's kind of a pain. That's why I never make the deviled eggs whenever I go to one of my family's parties. I just eat all of the deviled eggs that someone else made. You saw the sunroom? Yeah, the sunroom's looking cool. The only thing we have left to do is, like, we have to put some trim. But that's not that hard. We're just, it's not a priority. Your husband's taking you to the zoo tomorrow? I had a zinger. I had a joke, but I don't know if I want to say it now. I'm going to the zoo on Saturday. Casey and I are going on Saturday. So that'll be fun. They opened a new aquarium. Okay, good. The aquarium isn't extra. What do they have at the aquarium? 8,000 animals? Yeah, they just built a new aquarium at our zoo. It looks pretty cool. The last time we went, they were still building it. So I haven't seen it yet. The bears and the... You have a moose at your zoo? Interesting. I've never seen a moose at a zoo. I've seen a moose in real life. Up in the Rocky Mountains. They're fucking big. These are all the animals they have at our zoo. One of my favorite animals at the zoo, the black-footed cat. It's the most successful hunter of all cats. Also, pound for pound, it's one of the most aggressive cats there is. And it's the size of a house cat. But you don't want it as a house cat because it will tear you up. You like the red panda? We've got a red panda at our zoo. They have chimpanzees at our zoo. I've gone to the chimpanzee exhibit every time I've gone to the zoo, and the chimpanzees are never there. I have never seen the chimpanzees at the zoo. There's a whole exhibit for them, but they're never out where you can see them. They're always like up in the trees and stuff. Fucking rude. They've got the fennec fox. They've also got one of my favorite wild cats, the sand cat. Oh, they got a deek deek. Got sloths. Hell yeah. Got a polar bear. Yeah, there he is. There's the red panda. This guy, the sand cat. So, the cats that we have as pets were originally desert cats. Look at this guy. Isn't this just so cute? Look at these little guys. Look at this. Look at this. I love that like moody face that cats make. It's so funny to me when they just look so serious. Where are my cats? Do I have a cat in here? Is there a cat in the room? No? No cats? No cats, just dogs. Just got 2 dogs in here. No cats, I fear. Just look at this guy. Look at that face. Look at that catitude. The catitude. All right, everybody. I think we're good on questions today. I think we're all caught up. If you get your question in late, we'll take it tomorrow. I should be back tomorrow. If not, I'll try to do something over the weekend. My apologies for the disruption in the stream schedule. I've just been needed elsewhere. We've been doing the marathon stream, and so I'm needed. But you can find me hanging out with Casey over on her channel, or doing stuff like we'll be doing some co-op. We'll be doing some IRL, doing things around the house. Thanks for the encouragement. You deserved it. You're welcome. You're welcome. Take that energy with you. Carry it through the rest of your day. And let your love flow. That's all I gotta say. Just let it flow. Take those walls down from around your heart and just let that love loose. You're not gonna run out of love anytime soon. So just let it go. You know what? That's a good song. That's a good song. I'm gonna play that as our sending off song. We're gonna listen to "Let Your Love Flow." When did this song come out? "1976. The Bellamy Brothers. Let Your Love Flow. All right, everybody, take good care of yourselves. Show yourself some love and compassion, and we'll see you next time. Later, Gators. Bye-bye.
There's a reason for the sunshine sky, and there's a reason why I'm feeling so high. Must be the season when that love light shines all around us. So let that feeling grab you deep inside and send you reeling where your love can't hide, and then go stealing through the moonlit nights with your lover. Just let your love flow like a mountain stream, and let your love grow with the smallest of dreams, and let your love show, and you'll know what I mean. It's the season. Let your love fly like a bird on the wing, and let your love find you to all living things, and let your love shine, and you'll know what I mean. That's the reason. There's a reason for the warm, sweet nights, and there's a reason for the candle lights. Must be the season when those love lights shine all around us. So let that wonder take you into space and lay you under its loving embrace. Just feel the thunder as it warms your face. You can't hold back. Just let your love flow like a mountain stream, and let your love grow with the smallest of dreams, and let your love show, and you'll know what I mean. It's the season. Let your love fly like a bird on the wing, and let your love find you to all living things, and